Hey doing guys, another video for you here. This is about a kit that a friend of mine asked me to make for him. This is a medical kit for his vehicle. He owns TMV Trucking. He wanted something to ride with him in the vehicle in case he had to administer aid or in case there was someone that was there that didn't have what they needed to administer aid. So this is something I purposefully put together for him for his truck. And I'm going to go over the contents, also the case. There's a lot of purpose behind the container that it's in. I'm going to go over that as well. Come right at you guys. Alright guys, so here it is. So this is the case that the medical kit is in. This is a case from a brand called Apache. They're sold through Harbor Freight. It cost me right around 50 bucks or so. There are better cases like that are available out there, but for the money, I don't think you can touch this thing for what it gets you. The main point of the case was for it to be crush-proof, dust-proof, wet-proof, because it's going to be riding around in a truck. And the reality is it could see years of storage before ever being used. So it really needed to be weatherproof and dirt proof. It's a work truck. All right, so pretty straightforward. Very solid, plastic exterior. Pretty much crush proof that way. It's got a nice, decent handle. It does have a pressure release valve, which really isn't all that important for this application, but if you do a lot of flying, it could help. It also has two locking points, again, not really important for this application. Good solid lockup on the latches. And one thing I did not expect that was a pleasant surprise, when you open the case, there's a little bit of resistance, but once you get past a certain point, there's a detent in the hinges, which is nice. Because the reality is, if you did have to administer aid out of this, you don't want it to be constantly falling over on you. Pretty comprehensive kit that's in here. We're going to be pulling everything out, going over everything that's in here. I'm going to bring it a little closer for that. But basics, major trauma here, first aid here, tourniquets in the middle. So pretty straightforward as far as how it's laid out. Nothing terribly fancy about that. All right, so we're going to bring the camera in a little closer. We're going to take a look at the contents, get a better look at what's in here, coming right at you. All right, so again, basic layout, you have tourniquets here, you have major bleed trauma here, and you have first aid here. So tourniquets to start with. So there are two windlass style tourniquets that are in here. These are the new Rhino Rescue tourniquets. I am more than likely going to swap these out instead for Recons. It looks to me as if Rhino has purchased Recon's design just by the nature of how they're designed. But they're a little unproven as of yet, so these are going to be replaced with Recon tourniquets. I have sent a few of these off to TAC Response so they can run them through Immediate Action Medical. Once I hear back, which I think I'm going to hear good things back, they'll be included in some of my kits because Rhino's kits are pretty damn legit. So there's two windlass tourniquets. I also included 3 rats tourniquets. I know that everyone likes to hate on these things, but the reality is they have worked for me just fine, and for a smaller individual, they can work better at cutting off blood flow. On the very top are some of the orange gloves that I like to use. They're there because, well, you should be protecting yourself. So there's those. There's also a first aid manual here for someone that maybe doesn't know what they're doing. It's not a bad idea, or even under stress doesn't necessarily remember what they learned. So that's a good thing to include as far as I'm concerned. Also on top, there's a couple rescue blankets. One of the major things that can kill someone, can sneak up on them especially, is shock. So if you're in an area where, say you're on a turnpike and help's 10 to 20 minutes away, the simple act of making sure someone's not laying on the ground but is covered with one of those blankets could mean a difference between saving their life or not. Majorly on this side, we have a pretty comprehensive first aid kit. This basically has all the things that you would need plus, so it also has a manual that came with it. We have ointments, some different medications, we have gloves, we have moleskin, we have some small shears, tweezers, alcohol pads, some Curlex. On this side we have different size band-aids, we have different size gauze pads, so basic first aid stuff. Okay, so added to the first aid kit there we have a splint. This is for splinting, for immobilizing arm, leg, whatever the case may be. We also have what do we have here? Triangular bandage. This is a burn dressing. This is an abdominal pad. Excuse the words that don't want to come out of my mouth. Also in the kit as well, I also included some petroleum gauze bandages, also made for burns. If you're in a car wreck, there's a good chance burns are going to be involved. Another emergency blanket. What else is in here? Sharpie. It can't hurt. I know everyone includes it for the time on tourniquets. I understand that, and it's also information that that EMS is going to want to have. I don't necessarily think it's as important as people put it out to be, but it's there. We've got some safety pins. These can be used for any number of things. Tongue depressor, which could also be used for a finger splint. We have some really crappy gloves, but they're gloves nonetheless. This is a CPR face mask. So if you have taken CPR, you understand there's a back and forth right now between whether breaths are worth the risk or not. So there's that. Also, just in general, it's a good idea to, this is another protect yourself thing. Surgical tape. And this is an elastic, like an ACE bandage. And that pretty much encompasses everything that's on the first aid department that's here. Then we get into the nitty-gritty of kind of trauma, right? There is an NPA. There is a jelly in here, but I'll probably be including some others as well. I've included several packages of compressed gauze. Why have I included several packages of compressed gauze? Because I know someone who made the statement, you can never have enough gauze, which inspired me to create my gauze dispenser, and I have taken that information to heart. There is hemostatic gauze that is in this kit. There are some chest seals for penetrative trauma to the chest, which can happen during an accident. A decent pair of rescue shears. And then also we have multiple Israeli bandages. Now, Israeli bandages kind of get some hate, and I've got 4-inch and the 4-inch variety and the 6-inch variety. But the reality is it's a compression bandage, and that's really all that matters. It's a compression bandage. It is there to put compression on an injury, and the idea being is that helps you stop blood flow. So it's a pretty balanced kit for everything that I think he would need. I really can't think of anything other than maybe some safety glasses that I might still add to the kit. There's also an eye shield in here as well somewhere, which will be inside of the first aid kit itself, which will be its own, package inside of the bigger kit. But that's pretty much the extent of the contents. So that's it, guys. That's the kit that I put together for my friend Marty. Can you do more for it? Can I add more for it? Always. You could always add more. But there is a limit to how much space you have in your vehicle for this kind of stuff. And also, Marty isn't exactly an EMT. he is just kind of realizing that he needs something in his vehicle. This is mainly, in my opinion, more so that he can provide aid handing to a person that's trained on scene, which is way more likely to happen. But that being said, I will do what I can to get him interested in taking some training, because I think, and for anyone, it's a good idea. Is it the best of the best? No, but like anything else, I had a budget to work with. He only had so much money to spend on this topic, on this thing. All told, I'm right around $300 for everything, including the case, which I think is really, really, really good. It's a good comprehensive kit for the money. Like I said, I will be switching out the Rhino Rescue ones for recons, because I trust the recons. The Rhinos are a little bit of an unknown quantity to me at this point. But other than that, other than a pair of safety glasses, which we'll be including, I really can't think of anything else that I'd want to add to it. I know that he has things like leather gloves, stuff like that. That's stuff that he keeps in his vehicle. He has tools, so I don't need to add those as a way to get into a vehicle. He has all that stuff already, mainly on the medical side of things. And that's it, guys. I hope this inspires your own brain to think of maybe something you can do for a friend or a family member, maybe even for yourself if you haven't done it yet. I hope you're having a good Sunday. I hope it's being productive for you. Remember, guys, your path is out there. Go find it.